this Suns T-Wolves series essentially over?
You don't want to say it is, but I kind of think it is. I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I can't express enough how impressed I am with them. I thought the Suns, because of how they had their way with Minnesota during the regular season, particularly, fellas, when Rudy Gobert was on the court, they really had their way with them. I think they outscored them by 25, 26, and 17 points, respectively, whenever Rudy Gobert was on the court, and they beat him convincingly, and they didn't even have they had a double-digit second-half leads each time. And then the playoffs arrived, and we saw that show that Anthony Edwards put on, to the point where I had to pick up the phone. Me and Wilbon picked up the phone and called Michael Jordan. I said, we see somebody that look just a little bit like you right now. And MJ was like, man, the brother's special, no doubt. And then last night we see Jaden Daniels and what Jaden McDaniels and what he does. We see the balanced scoring attack. We see their size, their athleticism, their ability to defend multiple positions. And I'm like, well, damn. The one team that it almost looks like the one team standing in their way is the Denver Nuggets because of their size and obviously their skill and Jokic and all that stuff. But I'm just looking at Minnesota right now, and Phoenix seems outmatched. And Kevin Durant got to a point last night where I would never, ever, ever accuse the great Kevin Durant of quitting. But he looked so demoralized, it looked like a finished product. You're not beating Minnesota with defense. You're going to have to score if you're the Phoenix Suns because you're not that great defensively. We ain't get into how awful you're the worst fourth quarter team in the NBA this year. The worst. You're not beating the Minnesota Timberwolves because all of a sudden you're going to amp up your defense. You got to be able to put some points on the board. And they haven't been able to do it. I don't want to say that Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal can't do it, but you're not beating Minnesota 4 of the next 5 games. I cannot see that happening. Yeah, I'm willing to say this series is over.
Take it easy. Take it easy. The T-Wolves 2 years ago blew a terrible series to Memphis. They should never have lost. They blew leads left and right. They lost in 6 games. This is a franchise that has no history in postseason play. They've won 2 series the same year with Garnett when they got to a conference final. It was 20-something years ago. Yes, they played excellent defense the last 2 days, and Stevie's 1,000% right. I hate to say this, Durant looked shot last night. And forget the defense. He missed shots. He missed some couple free throws. He was awful in the game. Booker's trying too hard. Beal is always overrated. So I got some concerns here. No question about it. But these are the T-Wolves. They're not a prolific offensive team to begin with, too. They have the 2 games in Phoenix. I understand winning a game in Minnesota won't be easy, but you're telling me this series can't go 2-2 back to Minnesota? I would be very, very surprised if at the very least Phoenix doesn't win the game Friday night, get to 2-1, gain a little confidence, and away we go. If Durant's got a competitive bone in his body, come out and score 40 on Friday night. They're not that good. They're not the Detroit Pistons, all right, with Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace. They're not that good. So I still expect the Suns to make a run. I understand 4 out of 5. You got to win a road game. Tricky, and they played awful last night. I get that. Series isn't over yet.
Okay, well, so here's where I'm at. You say it's not over yet. Stephen A., for the most part, said that, but you said you don't want to quite go there. I'm going to go there. This series is over. This series is over. And here's why. When I look at 2 teams play, what I have to say to myself is for something to turn around is, can that team impose their style of play on the other team? Phoenix cannot to this team. Phoenix at their best, they've got to turn it into a track meet. They've got to play early into the shot clock. They've got all that offensive firepower. They've got to play before they're playing against a set defense because this is the best defense in the league. The problem is they're taking the ball out of the net early in the game. Minnesota is scoring on them. They're crashing the offensive glass. All of those things make it very difficult for you to get out and run to the extent that you need to get space. And as the game goes on, you're not seeing Phoenix get stronger. You're seeing them start to get, words we both used, demoralized, right? Defeated. That's how they look by the time you get to the end of the 3rd quarter. They don't look like they believe they can attack this defense. With 3 elite perimeter defenders, all that size behind them that they're being funneled to. I don't look at Phoenix, Stephen A., Dog, I don't look at them as a team that's got the mental toughness or the physical toughness.
Definitely not the physical.
That you need in this series. That's why I think this series is over. It's a foregone conclusion, is what I'm saying. I think it goes back 3-1 to Minnesota, and Minnesota wins this thing in 5
And let me tell you something right now. I mean, Nurkic, there were a couple of times last night, Dougie, in the second half. Nurkic, he just stood there and just let somebody. It wasn't even trying to defend. And I think when I think about Kevin Durant being completely demoralized, I think that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, because he's looking at it and it's like, damn, we can't stop him. You got nobody on the front line that's really playing an impediment to the Minnesota Timberwolves when they get to the basket. And then on top of it all, we got to pull out everything out of our bag just to get buckets against this team defensively. Let me also say this. A couple of things that's very, very important to note. Kevin Durant in this series is averaging 24.5 points a game. In both games, he got off 16 shots. These guys are not, and he's leading the team in shot attempts. When you talk about defense, think about the age that we're living in, Doggy. Think about how the game has sped up. Think about how it caters to offenses. Think about how they want more offense. And these guys can't get shots off. Can't get shots off. He's averaging 16 attempts, and he's leading the team in attempts. And last but not least, Grayson Allen, who actually has gotten criticism throughout the years. I like him. I like his toughness, whatever. He led the league in three-point shooting this year, 46%.
And now he's hurt.
Let me say something. Hurt. Let me tell you something right now. It's a national embarrassment. The dude has attempted 5 shots in 2 games. All 3-pointers, he's made 1 in these first 2 games. You can't be on a court as your starting shooting guard, and that's what you're giving them. You got to give them more than that. I don't know what the hell is going on with Grayson Allen. No threat whatsoever. Kevin Durant out there looks helpless, and we'll have a conversation later on about Kevin Durant and how he's going to be perceived if he ends up going home in the first round. Again, it's bad. It's bad in Phoenix right now. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant can explode for a game or 2. They did that against Denver last year, but I can't see them beating Minnesota for the next 5 games. I just can't see it.
All right.